Well, that's crazy. Okay. 10 million. That's a lot. that's a bit excessive. I mean, maybe it isn't. Maybe you can rack up that much really easily, but that seems like a lot. It seems like overkill. Alright, let's jump into these Reddit posts. Am I the asshole for refusing to go to my sister-in-law's baby shower after she refused to support me when I had a stillbirth and stole my daughter's name? Drama. 3 months ago, I, 28 female, gave birth to my angel baby, whom I was going to name Siobhan. My husband Dylan, 30 male, and I are still grieving her loss. We lost her due to preterm premature rupture of the membranes, and there was nothing the doctors could do to save her. My mother is Irish, and I was going to name my baby after my great auntie. We were so happy, and now we are devastated. My family rallied around us, and so did Dylan's parents, but his sister was a different story. She's been helping Dylan, but has told me that I need to get over it being in reference to our daughter. My husband's sister, Claire, 34, just announced her pregnancy at 20 weeks and had her gender reveal on Instagram. I'm happy for her, but sad at the same time, because I never got to meet my daughter. She announced she was going to have a baby shower and sent out invites last week. When we received the invitation, she said, "Help us welcome our baby, Siobhan." I can admit I cried looking at the invitation. Claire and my husband's family have no connection to Ireland or the name Siobhan, and when my husband asked her why she chose the name, Claire said it sounded pretty and because we weren't able to use it when she was going to take it first. And to clarify, no, she's not naming her baby after my daughter. As much as I want to feel happy for Claire, I just can't. It feels like she's rubbing the fact that my baby is dead in my face. And I RSVP'd no to the invite. She called me on my private number and chewed me up for being a sour bitch, not being happy for her, and being jealous over nothing. I feel like I should be happy for her, but I just can't. I just want my baby girl, my Siobhan. Am I the asshole? No, not the asshole. I feel like maybe if it was like there was a history of like the name in like the family or something, I could understand that. Like, you know, but it's your family that's Irish and has connection to the name, not the husband's side of the family. So. Oh, is it? I mean, I guess, yeah. Medical costs do rack up pretty quickly, so it just still seems like a lot. 10 million. Not the asshole. Here's how I'd address this. Send out an email to the entire family about how touched you are that your sister-in-law chose to honor you by naming her daughter after her late cousin. Make it sound positive as fuck. Talk about how much joy you feel knowing your child meant so much to your sister-in-law that she would name her baby after your daughter. Talk about how knowing your niece will carry your daughter's name with her for her entire life makes you and your husband feel so touched by the obvious love sister-in-law and her husband have for you and your daughter. And then just stick with this narrative, no matter what. You meet a friend of sister-in-law, tell them how much you loved your sister-in-law and named her child after your daughter. Mention it to every person that stands still long enough to hear it. Yes, it may be painful to do, but own your daughter's name and make sure everyone knows it was your daughter's name in a way that sister-in-law cannot complain about without looking like a total bitch. And it will absolutely piss sister-in-law the fuck off. True. This is so disgusting and vile. I wouldn't even do this to my worst enemy, let alone my brother's wife. Even if she dislikes you, does she connect the dots that it was her brother's baby too? Right. True. I'm enraged for you. Honestly, I feel like you should post the invitation side by side with a memorial photo of your angel baby or hospital bill and tell the truth of what sister-in-law did. That the name is Irish, you named your baby after your family, and your baby passed away, and then sister-in-law decided to use the same name with no prior connection to the name or Ireland, and told you to get over it and called you a sour bitch less than 3 months after your baby died. Yes, you don't own the name, but the pain of seeing/hearing a baby called that within your own family is devastating. And then let karma do its thing. I'm sure your family and friends will have your back and rightfully put sister-in-law in her place, and hopefully the backlash will make her choose another name. Not the asshole. If I were your husband, I would immediately cut sister out of my life. No questions, no conversation. Yeah. Yeah, the whole get over it thing, especially so soon to it happening, is just cruel. I'm curious how the sister-in-law is treating the wife or the husband here. Like, how is she treating her brother? If this is how she's treating Claire, is she treating her brother the same way? Because her brother lost the child as well. Yeah. So yesterday after stream, I didn't actually end up going to bed. Like, I didn't take a nap like I had expected to. And I kind of just jumped into my evening. And at one point I was sitting on the floor working on a small little Lego build while watching YouTube. And my brain was under the impression for some reason that it was like 1 in the morning or something. And so I was like, oh, I wonder what I'm gonna do, because like once I finish this little series I'm watching, like what am I gonna do with the rest of my evening? How much time do I have left? You know. So I look up at the clock and it was 8:20 p.m. And that really just threw me off because it was so far off from where my brain was expecting it to be. And I guess part of the reason my brain thought it was so late was because it had been dark for so long, and because usually I take a nap after stream, and I didn't do that. So so it was just really bizarre. Like, I had a full-on like crisis about it for like a couple minutes of like, oh my, like what the hell just happened? It was such a strange experience because I was just sitting there like, it's probably like 1 or 2 o'clock, and I look up 8:20, like not even close, like not even nearby what I was expecting it to be. Like, like if it had been like midnight or something, I would have been like, oh, okay, you know, 10:30 maybe, you know, like 8:20. It was 8:20. Not even close. Alrighty. Next post. Am I the asshole for refusing to call my niece anything else but her chosen name? OP is a 27 female. My husband, 33 male, and I are currently taking care of his recently orphaned niece, 8, with the plan to adopt her later. Her first name is Kelly and middle name Anne, fake names, but she prefers to be called Anne and been that way for years now. She introduces herself as, my name is Kelly Ann, but you can call me Anne. My sister, 29 female, is 8 months pregnant with her first child, and several months ago found out it's a girl. She has always wanted to name her daughter Anne, and is excitedly telling everyone upon learning of Kelly Ann's situation and how my husband and I plan to adopt her. My sister told me a few days after that we should start telling Kelly Ann to call herself Kelly instead of her middle name. She said 2 Anns in the family will be confusing, so Kelly Ann needs to get used to being Kelly. My husband said she was being ridiculous, and if anything, it's her baby that needs renaming because Kelly Ann has been calling herself Ann for years. True. My sister argued that she announced her baby's name many months ago, and we only plan to adopt Kelly Ann recently, so we should be the one making her rethink how to call herself. I joined my husband's side and told my sister Kelly Ann can call herself whatever she likes. My sister and her husband called my husband and me an asshole for stealing her baby's name. So, am I the asshole? I don't know how you could be stealing her baby's name when the person that you're talking about is 8 years old. Yeah. 2 people in the family with the same name, like, that's not abnormal nor illegal. Not the asshole. No one should have to choose a different name. I know a few families with cousins who share a first name, and it's not a big deal. If your sister doesn't want to have 2 Anns, then she shouldn't use it. But expecting a child to adopt a different name than what she's been using just because she, the sister, has decided to use a selected name is entitled and mean, to say the least. Anne is an identity that she's forged for herself with her preferred name. It doesn't matter that you decided to adopt her following your sister's name reveal. It would not be fair to disregard her preference for the sake of an unborn child. There's also no rule stating that there can't be more than one Anne in the family. There could be your Anne and your sister's Anne with an E. True. No one stole anything. Anne came with her name to you already. She's not a puppy you took home from the shelter and renamed. True. Yeah, you could have Anne and Anne with an E. Yeah, this is a good point. Kellyanne has been calling herself Anne for years because it is literally her name, and the little girl is having to go through enough awful changes in her life, having recently become orphaned, without losing her name. Your sister, with her yet unborn baby, can name her baby girl Anne too if she wants. There can be more than one Anne in an extended family, or she can pick literally any other name. Your sister can go pound sand, but what your niece/daughter call herself is not the business of your sister. Refuse to discuss it anymore. Not the asshole. Yeah. That's so goofy. You stole the name that I want to use for my baby. Like, that doesn't even make any sense. Note to all users, as of today, 10th of January 2024, the name Anne is no longer permitted on this sub or anywhere else in the world. OP's sister currently has all rights reserved. That's funny. Hello, Christian. Just such a goofy request, huh? That's 2 name posts in a row also. 2 baby name posts in a row. Barely, yeah. I'm sitting on a heated blanket with a blanket on top of my legs and my hoodie on with my hood up. And I'm still kind of cold. Which is weird because it's the same temperature in the apartment that it has been. And it's actually warmer outside than it has been by like 10 degrees. So it's still like 7 degrees outside, but that's warmer than it has been by a significant margin. So it's 65 in the apartment, which isn't that cold, but I'm cold. So my legs are nice and toasty. My upper body is a bit chilly. So steal my neighbor's heat. I don't have any. Well, I have a neighbor upstairs, but that's the closest I can get to a neighbor. Frozen Wasteland on your end? It is here too, honestly. But aren't you in like Chicago area? Like that general and I'm pretty sure y'all got hit with the same shit we did. Or at least another winter storm. Maybe not the same winter storm, but I'm pretty sure I saw that y'all got hit with something too, so. Yeah, we're supposed to dip back down below 0 overnight. Not very far below 0, but still. And it's breezy out, so 8 degrees out, but it feels like 0 degrees. I wish I could stop paying car insurance for the next couple months since I'm not gonna have a car. Ah. Yeah. I don't think there's a way to like not pay car insurance though. Like I don't think there's a way to like pause my car insurance. Like you can like pause your subscription service occasionally, you know? I don't think there's a way to skip months on that without just like canceling the insurance overall. Hey, Stray. Yeah, once the snow and stuff gets gone, I need to go pick it up from the where it's at and take it and park it somewhere else because I'm not going to be able to have them work on it anytime soon. So I need to take it and put it somewhere that's not on their lot. Assuming I can drive it over there because the state that it's in, it's not exactly drivable or safe to drive, but I can't do anything with it until the snow and stuff go away. I honestly couldn't tell you, Jimmy. That Christian will have to answer that one because I really don't know. I couldn't do van life. It wouldn't be enough space. Like I can live in a small space, but like that's just too small. Especially since I like having my 65-inch television. Can't really have that in a van. Maybe in a bus, but not in a van. New York style pizza is a lot more easy to fold and has certain textures, so it's really good. Chicago pizza or Chicago style pizza is more deep dish and has a lot of cheese and ingredients in it that you can hold. Some people eat it with a fork and spoon, but I like to let it cool off and pull the piece out and eat it that way. There's also St. Louis fine crust pizza, which we also do in Chicago as well. So the New York style pizza is like the big floppy pizza, whereas Chicago pizza is more sturdy and deep dish. All right. Yeah, St. Louis thin crust pizza. I have pizza this week. I was able to get Domino's to deliver pizza to me, so I've got food for the week. Alrighty, next post. Am I the asshole for pretending I didn't know I was adopted to make my teacher embarrassed? Okay, so I'm in high school, and this was in my English class. Our real teacher is on paternity leave, and we have a long-term substitute. So yesterday, she was telling us she wants us to write personal memoirs about something very important in our lives. And she goes about listing various examples for different students. She told me I could write about being adopted and how I felt when my parents told me. Now, I must have made a face then because I'm not adopted. I have 2 dads, but they had me through surrogacy. So technically, there was a legal adoption for my non-bio dad, but one of my dads is my biological dad, and my bio mom is my other dad's sister who donated her egg and carried me. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's actually super cool. So biologically, you are related to both of them. That's super neat. That's fantastic, actually. That's really cool. I think it would be a stretch to call me adopted. Yes, I do. I would agree. Also, the sub has no basis to even know any of this because as much as I've written in class, is just that I have 2 dads. Anyway, she's kind of old school and doesn't like when we talk too loud, which to her is talking at a normal indoor level on group assignments, make any normal faces, whatever. She basically called me out on making a face and was like, OP, if you don't want to write about being adopted, you can choose another important topic in your life. Maybe how you help your dad at home. One of my dads has cerebral palsy and is mostly blind from optic neuropathy. I did write briefly about that in my intro assignment with our teacher, so he must have left them with her to get to know the class. Teacher left the intro assignments with the sub. All right. I was confused, so I said, I'm not adopted. She just put her hand over her heart and goes, oh, honey. So now my brain, which is lagging, caught up, and I realized she's only thinking I'm adopted because I have 2 dads. So at this point, I'm like, whatever, I'll just play into it. So I look upset, and I'm like, I didn't know I was adopted. She's kind of panicking a bit and telling everyone to just start writing something. A lot of my friends are laughing under their breath because they know I'm not adopted. So she's telling everyone to quiet down, and it's not funny, and get to work. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm adopted? She's trying to tell me not to worry about it and just ask my dads when I get home. And I'm like, how can I be adopted? So she just sends me to the school counselor, and I told her the story basically, and she gave off the vibe that it was a shitty thing to mess with the sub that way, and I could have just explained I'm not adopted because now I've made her worry unnecessarily and embarrassed her. I don't think parts of my life are up to her to decide what I want to share or not. I feel like it's on her if she feels embarrassed for assumptions she made. Maybe that makes me the asshole. That's cute. Not the asshole. Teacher is completely inappropriate. Good for you mirroring back her BS. The counselor had a crappy perspective. She and the teacher are not respecting you as a person, including your privacy. What about the teacher blatantly talking about you, then conveying pity to your supposed ignorance? School staff should not state personal life details or insinuations in class. This is a breach of privacy. You and your family should submit a complaint. Not the asshole. Put the annoying teachers in their place. I agree. The teacher must pay. That's goofy. I don't think it's that deep. I just think it's kind of funny. She made a biased assumption that you were adopted based on the fact that you have two dads, and so you made her feel goofy for making a dumb assumption when she knows nothing about your situation. Alright. Am I the asshole for accepting the prize money for winning a game I didn't know I was playing? So I, 21 female, went to my granddad's 80 male house last week, and he handed me a jar full of cash with my name on it. He told me to count it, and it came out to $3,200. Jeez. I asked him what it was for, and he explained the rules of the game he'd been playing with the whole family. From the 1st of December 2023 to the 31st of December 2023, every time a member of the family visited him, he'd put $100 in the jar for every hour they spent with him. Oh wow. At the end of the month, the person who spent the most time with him would receive all of the money in their jar, and the others would get nothing. He obviously didn't tell anybody that he was doing this, so no one spent extra time with him to get the money. I won his game by $600, so 6 hours more than the person who came second, my uncle. At first, I didn't want to accept the money, only because I didn't think it was right to play games with people without them knowing, especially not your family. But after a while, he convinced me to take the prize money because I earned it. When I got home, I told my parents about the money and explained his game to them. I told my mom where she came on the scoreboard 4th, and she was understandably upset at her father for making us unknowingly compete with each other. Then she told the rest of the family via group chat. So now pretty much my whole family is mad at my granddad for doing this, but also me for accepting the money. He's an old man and he's not exactly a millionaire, so they think I should have refused the money and confronted him for what he did. I think that if he was willing to play this game, then he obviously has no problem with giving the money away. And he did insist on me taking it. Also, he's always been a weird guy, so although I don't agree with what he did, I'm not too surprised. So I don't think I should have to start an argument with him about it. 1 month, each person who visited him had a separate jar. That's funny. No, you're not the asshole. Someone gave you money and you accepted the money. Like that. How would that make you an asshole? Not the asshole. If you feel bad about receiving this money, might I suggest you spend it on experiences for you and your granddad to share? Not the asshole. Personally, I think the game just shows which people in the family get along with him / feel better. A certain closeness and understanding with your granddad, and thus spend time together. It's a bit rude to put that into monetary value, a bit, but he's free to do what he wants, though I suspect now he'll just get many more visits around Christmas and will not give money again next year. Yeah, he told me he wouldn't do it again next year, but I'm not going to tell anyone he said that. I'm just going to enjoy watching everyone tripping over each other to go and visit him. He could pick a random month each year, keep people guessing, and showing him some FaceTime year long, as they never know when the contest month is. That's kind of smart. Yeah, I don't see the issue either. Stray. That's funny though. Alrighty. Am I the asshole for refusing to babysit my grandkids because I don't want to? I'm in my late 50s, and in general, last month with the holiday and then my job being rough in the beginnings of the month, I am tired. Today I'm able to take a half day, and this weekend I plan on doing nothing. This seems to be a problem. I got a call today asking if I could babysit the grandkids tomorrow night. They have to visit her uncle and don't want to take the kids to the nursing home. I told my daughter-in-law no. She asked why, and I told her I need to recharge. Daughter-in-law asked if I was truly doing nothing, and I told her yes. This started an argument where she thinks I'm being selfish, and I can easily do this since I'm doing nothing. I told her my answer was again no. My son is also mad at me now, and I'm wondering if I should suck it up and babysit. No, you're not the asshole. Not the asshole. Enjoy doing nothing. If it were an emergency, my bet is you would have been there 100%. Yeah. Not the asshole. This is a visit, not an emergency situation. They are not entitled to you babysitting, even if they are your grandkids. You're allowed to set boundaries. Like I said, this is a visit. They have several options. Your son can stay with the kids and let his wife visit. They can take the kids with them to the visit, or they can hire a babysitter. They, however, do not demand you to keep the kids when you're not feeling well. You may not be sick traditionally, but being ran down both emotionally and physically is still not feeling well and is unhealthy for you physically. You're allowed to put self-care above simple visits. Yeah. Why don't you want to take your kids with you? Because they can be unruly, cranky, and need constant supervision to behave. That's why I can't babysit while I recharge. Yeah. Right? Isn't that weird? Like, it's good to have family members so that way if you do have an emergency, you have someone you can leave the kids with. But this isn't an emergency. Like multiple comments have said, this, they're just going on a trip to see somebody. It's not like an emergency, like this person's dying, we need to go see them before they die type situation. So yeah, they just want a free babysitter, exactly. Not the asshole. I have 2 kids and my parents regularly babysit for me. However, if they said no, I have no problem with that. They didn't choose to have my kids. I did. They are ultimately my burden. I am curious about why they have to visit her uncle, though. Not that refusing makes you an asshole. It still won't. But if he's about to pass away or is dangerously sick, personally, I would rethink my position and would consider helping. Yeah. Sounded like a normal visit. I know the nursing home. If he was dying, they would have transferred him to the hospital. No, not the asshole. Pretty easy one there. Also, they could just hire a proper babysitter if they really want to leave the kids at home. Just hire an actual babysitter. You know? Am I the asshole for refusing to pay rent in my boyfriend's mom's house for staying there? So I, 19 female, and my boyfriend, 20 male, live separately. I have a place of my own that I rent, but my boyfriend lives with his mom still because she's pretty sick and has no one else to care for her. I stay over there pretty often, maybe 2 to 3 nights a week, because my boyfriend works night shifts and his mom still needs someone to look after her, so I'm more than happy to stay over and do whatever needs doing. However, she's asking me to pay $350 a month for staying around so often. This honestly baffles me because I literally only stay there overnight a few nights a week. I barely use her food, I have the odd shower, but that's it. I certainly don't use $350 worth of her stuff a month. This is on top of the $350 that my boyfriend pays her, which is fair enough because he lives there full time. Also, you're there doing a service. You're there helping her. You're not just squatting. Why should I pay rent on her house when I already have a place of my own that's quite expensive? I told her no, that's not fair, but now she's angry at me. My boyfriend is on my side, but I can't help but feel like I could be the asshole. My boyfriend's mom is bedbound and needs assistance into her wheelchair to get around. She can't wheel the chair herself as she has arthritis, amongst other things, so wheeling her chair would be much too heavy and strenuous for her. She needs assistance onto the toilet, into the bath, reaching into the kitchen cupboards, etc. Everything in her house has been adapted to be as accessible as possible, but she still needs a lot of assistance for her daily activities. I do a lot of these tasks for her during the night as she sleeps a lot in the day, so at night she's pretty awake and is wanting food, water, bathroom visits. It was very clumsy of me to state in the comments that I literally just go there to sleep and make sure she's okay, as that is not the case. Yeah. The mom should be paying you for your services. Yeah. So if that's the case, mom should be paying her for the home care service. Yeah. Yeah, I would say give it a couple days where you don't go stay with her and see how much she misses you then. Because if she really is as trapped and bedbound and not capable of taking care of herself as she's saying, if she's got an issue with you being there to the degree she feels you should pay her, give it a couple days where you don't go in and help her and see how much the $350 a month is really worth to her. Yeah. Have good lunch. Have good lunch. No, not the asshole. Again, another pretty easy one. Alrighty. Oh. Am I the asshole because I left without saying goodbye after finding out about inheritance? I was visiting my dad and siblings in another country for the holidays, and I didn't say goodbye to my father or brother and his family. After discovering they worked together to sign everything over to my brother and giving me and my two sisters 1% of father's assets. I was visiting family with my husband and children after not having seen them in almost 2 years. The day before we were scheduled to leave, I had to sit down with my elderly father to discuss his plans for his estate after passing. This estate, built by him and my mother before she passed 4 years ago, consists of 8 figures worth of commercial and residential property. He said he would give me and my sisters some cash, 1% of what the properties are worth, and give everything else to my brother since it's tradition. We are from a Middle Eastern background. My brother did work in the family business since college and has also benefited greatly from it, living in multi-million-dollar home, etc. The biggest part of the portfolio, a strip mall, was because the previous owner was a friend of mine who was selling it and decided to sell to my family because of our friendship. My sisters and I, who are older than our brother, worked alongside our parents during the building of their business and during lean times. We did the grunt work as preteens and teens. Additionally, we did a lot of caregiving for our mother when she was suffering from a terminal illness that robbed her of all her body's abilities. I am shocked and dismayed, to say the very least. I understand my brother helped in running the business, but he did more management, etc., not anything customer-facing or manual labor the way my sisters and I did. I understand that no one is owed an inheritance, but this is beyond pale. We have been good daughters. Because I was so upset, I packed up my kids in bags and left without saying goodbye or anything. My dad got upset that I left without saying bye to her father. No, not the asshole. Dad and siblings. So you were visiting them, and while you were visiting them, you were just talking about estate plans after passing because he's old. And he stated that you're not going to really get anything. Although maybe 1% is a good amount if he's got so much money, but I don't know. Not the asshole. Daddy Dearest can get his love and respect from his son. If he doesn't owe you anything, you owe him the same. Yeah, true. No, it's not a fair amount. Not at all. Not the asshole. I really hope you stand your ground and don't do the traditional daughters take care of the parents as the age thing. Your brother can do that now. I agree. Not the asshole. In most Middle Eastern families, Islamic ones to be more accurate, it's common to split more to the son than the daughter, only because the son will have to care for his family, while the daughter gets half of the brother's amount. But that money becomes only hers, and the daughter's husband would presumably get his inheritance, which would be bigger than his sister, so it evens out in a sense. So like the son should get 50 and the daughter's 25 each, but your dad is ridiculous for doing what he did. Honestly, I'd recommend you call him and tell him to give your 1% to your brother and consider your relationship done, and if he needs anything to contact his dear son. Yeah, even in like religious basis, the 1% is still weird. Oh, I need to unbend my legs. I've been sitting crisscross in this chair. My knees hurt. Nope, not the asshole. Alright, am I the asshole for not telling my niece the protagonist dies in the final book? She, 13, has been reading through a book series for some time now. Ever since I bought her the first book as a birthday gift back in September. There are about 30 books. It's a very long series. Anyway, she started reading the final book last week. I didn't tell her that one of the main two characters is going to die. I know she's grown quite fond of him, but figured best to avoid spoilers. What happened yesterday was that she got really upset and told me I should have given her a warning first. My brother also said I should have let her know so she could prepare for the bad ending. No. She could as well have accused you of spoiling the ending. Also, she is 13 and not a little kid. She has to learn to deal with these kinds of disappointment, or life will be really hard for her. Yeah, why would you spoil? Exactly. I agree. Because I have had the death of a protagonist spoiled before, and it's not okay. I don't appreciate that shit. Agreed. Yeah, if she had told her, then that would make her the asshole. Not the asshole. I remember so many character deaths that destroyed me as a teen. The grief and despair are real, even if it's fiction. That being said, I abhor this development of shielding children and teens from difficult topics. It's not protection, it's sheltering. I do believe in age appropriateness for literature. I read a novel at 12 that I probably shouldn't have, but that was on me. My single father wasn't strict, but did try to make sure I was staying in my age bracket. However, it is important to have age-appropriate contact with these topics. I'm glad that your niece reads. It teaches critical thinking, blah, blah, blah. Damned if you do, damned if you don't, because such a warning could have spoiled the book for your niece, or even kept her from reading it. I'm the first to admit I will deny certain character deaths until my last breath, but I can do that because I know they died. Not the asshole. Not even the death of a main character would keep me from being angry about a spoiler. She is 30 books in. That's a lot of time to spend on a series to have the ending ruined. Exactly. True. That's true. Oh, look. Am I the asshole for yelling at my mom after I found out she named me after one of my stillborn cousins? This is like the perspective of from Siobhan from the first post we read today. The future Siobhan. I wonder if it's the same situation. That'd be interesting. Let's see. Last month, I, 17 male, learned that my mom named me after one of my stillborn cousins. My aunt, my mom's sister, had 4 stillborn children, and her only son is the one I was named for. My aunt never got to bring a child home. I feel like I always knew she lost kids, but I never knew her son, and I shared a name. It's not a common name either. I've never met another person with my name, and while I always loved having a unique name, learning the origin of it makes me so uncomfortable. As long as I can remember, my aunt has hated my mom and never wanted to be near her. I never understood why. My aunt was always nice to me, but I could feel how awkward she was around me. I could never figure out why. It was weird because my whole family gave me a nickname and always called me that. The nickname was unrelated to my name and everybody used it for me. That wasn't so weird, but I guess I did used to wonder because I remember when they hosted a party last year to celebrate me getting an award for my art, they used my nickname, which is more of a pet name, on the cake, the banner and stuff. It didn't have my first name on it at all. I was talking to my cousin before Christmas. She's my uncle's kid, and I asked her why everyone calls me by the nickname and never by my name. She told me that it was hard for them to use the name and not think of my cousin. I asked her what she meant, and she told me that it was a whole drama and mom lost her whole family over it. Nobody thought it was kind, and our aunt was so pissed at mom. Apparently mom even told dad that that was my name, and he got no real say. It made me feel so uncomfortable because every time they hear my name, they think of him, and he never got a chance to live and grow. I know naming people after dead family members is a thing, and that's fine, but an infant who is stillborn, it still feels gross to have that name. I confronted my parents, and my mom told me it was no big deal, and I shouldn't feel ashamed that my aunt is the one who should be ashamed. I asked mom how she could be so insensitive to her sister. She didn't get over it, and a week ago, it all kind of bubbled over, and she told me I have no right to be mad. I started yelling that she cursed me with a name that makes everyone think of a tragedy. I told her the name is more associated with him than me, and that makes sense because they lost him way too soon, and it will also make them think of his sisters who didn't live either. My mom said I had no right to yell at her, and I'm just as bad as the rest of the family when they all treated her like shit for how she chose to name me. Am I the asshole? No, you're not the asshole. Mom has issues. That's creepy as hell. Yeah. Because this is the exact situation that we read from the first post with Siobhan. The name Siobhan. Not the asshole. Thank you for sharing. We see a lot of posts on here from the person in your mom's role or the aunt's role about this exact issue. I've never seen the child's take on it before. This sounds like a very alienating and confusing situation, and hopefully people who are debating baby names will read this and see what it's like for the person carrying that name. Sorry you're in this position. I hope so. At least think about it if you don't have the blessing of those who lost the baby, because it's awkward to have this stuff going on in the background your whole life and not understand why, and it feels so weird when you do learn the truth. Like, I think back on all the years with my family and how my name was such a sore point for so many of them. Wow, your mother is a monster. What kind of awful, selfish narcissist does that and then doubles down on the pain she caused? I'm so sorry that you've realized your name was just a weapon your mother wielded to cause even more pain to her sister after the deaths of 4 of her children. It's not your fault. It's entirely hers. Please don't carry the blame for her choices. She did this to you as well, and your feelings are perfectly valid. Perhaps write your aunt a letter apologizing for the pain she must have felt due to the negative associations of your name. I guarantee she'd be touched by the gesture, and you may be able to become closer to her if you want. And if you decide you want to change your name to the nickname you've always had, the good news is you're almost 18 and can do it without your parents' permission. You also don't have to do that if you don't want to. But you should absolutely consider if your mother's warped attitude is one that you will want to remain around once you no longer have to be. I don't know what I want to do in terms of changing my name. I never went by another actual name, so I would need to figure out another name. One I like and not just something to switch to without giving it any thought. But I have some time. True. Maybe ask your dad what he would have liked to have named you, if you feel safe doing so. And going from there, you should choose a name for yourself. That's a good idea. I really like this idea about talking to his dad about it and making a decision together. If he's uncomfortable doing that because it would seem like him siding against his wife, that's okay too. But at least he asked. Yeah. She says you are just as bad as the rest of the family, and that is a huge tell. No one agrees with her. She refuses to accept that absolutely no one in her life finds what she did acceptable. Now you're old enough to know the truth, and she figured you would have learned to love your name and stand by her choice. Nope, not the asshole. She is such a huge asshole, and she needs to hear it on repeat. If you want to no longer have that name, it's not hard to change, and I bet Aunt would see it as a gift to her. But you would put so much pain to the rest of the family. And you would put so much pain to rest in the family. There we go. I know you said you like the name, but it may be worth changing to help start some healing and to really show your mother how wrong she is and how badly this affected you. You could always find similar names or just something you love. Not saying you have to, though. You can try having a relationship with your aunt to help her heal so she can find love in seeing you instead of pain. True. This is the same post we just read. Yep. From the same day, too. That post was 4 days ago as well. Yeah, you don't tend... I feel like if you want to name your child after a dead family member, like, especially if the rest of the family is not okay with you doing it, the middle name is always a good option. Like, my mom, like, I've got my grandmother's name as my middle name, because she passed when my mom was young, and it meant a lot to her to sort of pass on her mother in some way. But that was years after her mother died, and it was her mom, you know what I mean? It wasn't her sister's kid, you know what I mean? Like, it was her mother's name that she passed on. And still, even then, she didn't name me after her mother. I got it as my middle name instead. So I feel like if you want to do like I don't know why, especially when they're not okay with it. Like, it's one thing if the person's okay with it, but also there's a difference between naming someone after like a dead sibling or a dead parent versus a dead child. It's just different, you know? Which is why I don't understand being, especially when it's not a name you were, like, if it was a name you like grew up wanting to name your kid, that's, I feel like, different. But if it's just like, oh, I really like the name, actually, you know, kind of, yeah, Christian. Not the asshole on that one either. Seat is too warm. All right. Am I the asshole for telling my bridal client that the venue was double booked? I, 29 female, and my business partner, 34 male, run a wedding planning and coordination business. For contacts, we have several different packages, but it breaks down to basically A, we plan your wedding start to finish, or B, you plan your wedding and we are there on the day to execute the timeline, coordinate the vendors, etc., etc., to make sure the day runs smoothly and you have no stress. Here's what happened with one of our package B clients. Okay, so package B means you didn't plan the wedding, you're just there on the day of the wedding. Okay. The ceremony begins at 6 p.m. in a different area on the same property, and the bride was told that not only would she be the only wedding in the room that she was booked on that day, but that because she was the only wedding in that room that day, she would also be able to go in there prior to her ceremony to take photos, as all vendors had ample time to complete the room setup. Normally these photos would happen during cocktail hour, but she didn't want to miss out on that, so we were trying to accommodate her, and it should have been no issue considering she was told that she was the only wedding that day. Yesterday we received an email from the florist stating that they couldn't gain access to the reception room according to the venue until 5:45 p.m. as there was another wedding occurring in the same room that ends at 5:45 p.m. Normally this would be fine and we would simply rearrange timings and notify the vendors so they can all allocate additional personnel to account for a short setup time. So we called the client and asked if she was aware of this. We understand now that she should have called the venue first to confirm this. However, it ended up being accurate, so it wouldn't have made a difference. She was not and was incredibly upset. She and her father called the venue and apparently went off on them. The venue event specialist then called my partner and scolded her for telling the client, stating that telling her the week of her wedding was bad coordinating practice and that we should have just let it go, and hung up on her without letting her speak. After speaking with my partner about this phone call, I called the event specialist myself to get a feel for what was going on from his point of view. He gave me the same treatment, would not allow me to speak, and hung up on me. Immediately after, we attempted to call the bride at 5:50 p.m., but she didn't answer. So we sent her a text to please call us, which she also did not answer. An hour later, we sent another text to the group chat we have with her and her mother-in-law, her maid of honor, not mother-in-law, her maid of honor, her sister, asking to please call us, but neither one of them has responded. It's now 12 p.m. the next day, and she has not texted or called, and we're supposed to have our final call this evening. So am I the asshole for telling her that she wouldn't be able to take photos in the reception room prior to her ceremony because the venue booked another wedding during the day and we wouldn't be able to have the room set up completed in time? Are you the asshole for doing your job? No. Not even a little bit. Sounds to me like the venue got caught in a lie to the bride. You are not the asshole, but everyone seems to be blaming you, and that's not fair. Guess you've stumbled upon an industry secret and can, for future weddings, advise your brides accordingly, because apparently venues can lie. Not the asshole at all. You can manage around this, but I would take event specialists to task and go to their manager about how you were treated. It's a two-way business relationship, and you can stop using their venue. Does this venue send you clients? If so, you should still talk to the manager and do damage control. The specialist has it out for you over what is their mistake. OP said, I agree on talking to management. We're just looking to resolve the situation first, or more likely wait until the wedding is over before doing that, as it could adversely affect the client. We've worked here before, but we're not on their preferred vendor list, so there's no referrals coming from them or vice versa. Not the asshole. What is going on with this venue? So unprofessional. People pay big money for weddings, and they're trying to rinse people getting these weddings back to back and setting unrealistic expectations. You were definitely right to have said something to the bride. You've done nothing wrong here. Yeah. As someone who worked a lot of weddings and has the mental scarring to prove it, venue managers will the bridal party in gory detail the time they have the rental for. That's not a sentence. But we have gone through this exact scenario time after time. At our venue, had to schedule a minimum 2-hour break between weddings because the wedding parties would just not get. If your wedding is over at 1 p.m., including photos, you all need to be out by 2 p.m. You will find that wedding parties will develop wholesale main character disease, and reality becomes a horrid burden. We had requests mere minutes before a ceremony to repaint the building, make it less sunny or more sunny, find chairs for 50 people, color match napkins, and find missing grandparents. Cancel the next wedding, and that is the boring requests. Repaint the building. Can you imagine? Adding wedding platter, I probably would have called the venue first to confirm before going straight to the couple, but otherwise this seems to be on the venue, unless the couple gave you bum info. Wonder if it was in her contract that they had exclusive use of the room that day. OP said, yes, we completely understand regarding calling the venue first and have discussed that for future, if, hopefully not, we ever have a similar situation. After reviewing her contract again, it was not in writing when she booked, definitely should have been. However, since we are day of for this wedding, we only came on board around 2 months out, so there wasn't anything we could have done. Not the asshole. Am I missing something, or is literally everybody in the situation insane? It's a wedding. Everybody in the situation is insane. No, not the asshole. Alrighty, next one. Am I the asshole for telling my sister she has to move? I, 25 female, own my mom's old house. When she died 5 years ago, my 2 siblings and I inherited it equally, but it was not fully paid off, and in order to close out the estate, it needed to be sold. I had the money and was emotionally attached to the home, so I bought out my siblings and own it outright now. I live in a different city a few hours away from the home, but use it for family gatherings like Christmas every year, where my siblings and their families always get invited. I also used it for some week-long vacations in the summer when I wanted to get away. Last June, my sister, 29, and her husband were going through a rough period. They lost their apartment and asked me if they could move into the house with their child, 2 male. I told them yes, under the conditions that I could come visit over the summer like usual with a bedroom to sleep in, and that Christmas could still be hosted in the house. They agreed to these terms and moved in. I did not charge rent, but implored them to use that money to save and get themselves out of the debt they were in. This August, when I came to visit, I had to stay on the sofa because they were using the extra room for her husband's office, which was not the agreement. I understood that they were living there and just trying to be comfortable, so I let it go. You shouldn't have let it go. Over Christmas, I asked them about plans for the holiday. My sister informed me that she was struggling mentally and did not feel like hosting the family. She said it was going to be too much work. It was the first Christmas in my life that I didn't celebrate at my mom's house. This week, I asked them to move out of the house. They were not following the agreements, and so I thought it was fair. Now she's calling me a monster for kicking her child out of his home. Am I the asshole? No, you're not the asshole. Yeah, we all know where this is going. Always charge rent and have these sorts of agreements in writing so that you can evict them pretty easily. Now the asshole, you're home. You've been more than generous. You bought them out of the house. Where did the money go? They're not paying rent. Where did that money go? Why are they not saving to buy their own place or find their own home? She's banking on manipulation for free digs and the emotional blackmail of her child. While I understand that she may not want to host Christmas or want a room empty for you when you want to use your home, if she wasn't willing to actually adhere to the agreement, she shouldn't have agreed. Boot them out and don't look back. Where did the money go? Excellent question. I agree. Now the asshole, she's not living up to the agreement. She can get a job to supplement their income. Just make sure you get everything in writing. Weird squatters' rights are in force. Put a formal eviction notice in place. Yeah. First you paid her off, then she got to live there rent-free, and for the past 6 months, 2 adults couldn't save up enough money to rent somewhere. Not the asshole, it's your home, but it seems like she already thinks it belongs to their child. Good luck getting them out, though. Yeah, imagine getting to go 6 months without having to pay rent. That would be great. I'd be living the fucking high life, dude. They seem to be taking advantage. Did you give them notice to vacate rather than having them move out immediately? Maybe opt that they contribute to paying rent and uphold the agreements. Not sure if she's using mental struggles as an excuse to get you to let her stay, but has she opted for therapy, etc.? OP said, I asked them to be out by the end of February. I suggested they started paying rent at one point, but they are in a lot of debt. I should probably edit to add that I do still pay a mortgage on the house. It's a very small one, but it does cost me monthly money to keep them in there. They pay electric. Yeah, it makes no sense. How the hell did they run so much debt? They don't pay rent nor mortgage. They should have at least $1,200 a month to save because of this, especially because they've got 2 adults. You bought them out of the house. This money should have been more than enough to cover their debts. Where is all of their money going? How could they possibly have run up so much debt that you helping them as much as you have still hasn't gotten them out of it? Yeah. Not the asshole. They had 7 months where they weren't paying rent and they still aren't back on their feet. It sounds like they're in a mindset that they still have as much right as you do to the house. Yeah, because like rent is most people's main expense. So 7 months without having to pay your main expense should put you in a fantastic financial situation, especially with what should be 2 sources of income since there are 2 adults living in this home. So they should have 2 sources of income, meaning they should have had plenty of money to save, since they're not having to drop most of their monthly income on rent. Yeah. Weird. I never signed up for text alerts, so I don't know why I'm getting text alerts. That was weird. Sorry. Okay, next one. Am I the asshole for calling all of my cousins Mary? OP is a 15-year-old female. My granny always dreamed of having a daughter named Mary, but instead she got 6 sons and no daughters. Whenever she found out each of her daughter-in-laws is pregnant, she would beg them to name the kid Mary, but no one would do it. When my baby sister, 2 months, was born, my granny decided that she's going to call her Mary, even though that's not her name. Why are people so weird about names? And Mary isn't even like a fancy name. What the fuck is going on? My parents are very annoyed because of this, but they believe in respecting elders, so they won't say anything. This Christmas, we all gathered at Granny's, and she again called my sister Mary. I snapped at her to stop. This is annoying. That's not her name. Granny was upset, and my cousins and uncles started telling me that I'm being rude, and it's just a name, and it's no big deal. So I decided, since it's no big deal for them, I will call all of my cousins Mary, even the boys. I called them Mary all day, and at the end, one of them snapped and told me that I'm not funny anymore and asked me to stop. I told him I'm not trying to be funny, Mary, but I won't stop until you apologize and admit that it is annoying to be called something other than your name. Now they're calling me an asshole. I appreciate that she called everyone Mary, even the boys. Not the asshole. This seems totally justified. I find it ridiculous to cater to elderly just because they're old. You don't get respect for being elderly. You don't have to respect your elders if they are disrespectful. Yeah. I told him I'm not trying to be funny, Mary. Yeah. Not the asshole. That's hilarious. It doesn't matter how old the person is. They don't have a right to be obnoxious or hurtful. And calling everyone Mary is a great way to stand up for yourself if no one else will. Just because your sister is too young to know what she's being called, it doesn't mean your grandmother can't disrespect your parents. She sounds like she would be a horrible mother-in-law. You called her Granny. You should edit or update your post to say how old your grandma is. Granny makes it sound like you're fighting with a 99-year-old woman. I love my grandma with all my heart, and we're lucky she's still with us and isn't doing too badly at 99. When we were younger, she would say sensitive things and make comments that were personal and not very nice. She wasn't being mean, just thoughtless, literally thoughtless. She would say whatever popped into her head, good or bad, right or wrong. But we were always told to ignore her, and that's how she is. After Grandma loudly and a room full of luckily only family pointed out that her sister was going bald, I made it my mission to stand up to her. She went on asking about her diet and being checked for thyroid issues, etc. I pointed out that thin hair is also genetic, and there's thin hair on both sides of the family. I was about 18 or so. I was furious that she embarrassed her sister, and I didn't yell, but was more forceful than normal conversation. Anytime she made personal comments about me, I would tell her she's hurting my feelings and explain how she makes me feel not good enough or insecure. It took a while, but she totally changed with everyone, and our relationship has improved by being open with her. Good luck. If your family is so supportive of your grandmother and respects her so much, why not just, I don't know, actually name her Mary? Problem solved. Right? That's goofy. Alrighty. Sorry. That just sounds like something I would do. It feels like a petty revenge story as well. Am I the asshole for telling my brother-in-law to pay me $700 for my lost coat when I bought it for $100? Last year, I was at the mall with my fiance when I saw this awesome cashmere wool coat. It was perfect in every way, and there was only one left in my size. The best news was that it was on clearance for $100, so I bought it without a second thought. I have worn it several times last year, but it hasn't been cold enough this year for me to break out the coat. Last week when I saw the news about the upcoming cold front, I decided it was time to take it to the dry cleaners so that I can wear it this week. After tearing all my closets apart without seeing it, I asked my fiance if she had seen it. She told me that she hadn't seen me wear it in a while, so she lent it to her brother to wear to a wedding. I was annoyed at hearing this, but decided not to make a big deal, so I simply told her to tell her brother to bring it back, so I could get it dry cleaned. Thursday rolls around and he hasn't brought it back, so I asked her about it again. Nothing. Come Friday, I haven't heard anything, so I called him. He said that he told my wife on Tuesday that he got drunk at the wedding and lost my coat. I was super annoyed at this, so I told him he owes the exact coat from the exact brand. That's fair. Last night, my fiance came home from work in a mood and handed me $100. She said that her brother dropped off the money and that I shouldn't have made her brother pay for the coat since I know he doesn't make very much, and I haven't worn it but a handful of times. I looked at the $100 and told her I wanted a replacement coat or the amount it currently costs so that I can buy a new one and that $100 won't cover it. She said he went to the store and it costs $700 now, but she knew I only paid $100 for it, so she told him $100 would cover the cost. I argued that $100 doesn't buy me a new coat. We went back and forth but couldn't find any common ground. She offered to throw in an extra $100 of her own money and said sarcastically that I'm coming out ahead. I argued that I'm still out a coat and nothing will satisfy my loss except for the replacement coat. She argued that I don't have to have the exact coat and can buy a similar one with $200. She thought I was being ridiculous and called her parents on speakerphone. Of course, they sided with their children, and her dad tried to say that a man shouldn't be so hung up on a coat. I told him that a man replaces what he loses, so now they're all mad at me for wanting to make a profit from their son and intimating, implying that he's not a man. Am I wrong for wanting the same coat as a replacement? I know that's what I'm thinking. $600 off is a lot. Not the asshole. I don't see this as an attempt to make a profit. I see this as a man wanting his coat replaced. Just so happens the value of the coat went up. If a thief steals from a home and takes gold bars from the safe, when the thief is convicted and ordered to pay restitution, the current value of the gold bar is considered, even if the value of the gold bars were significantly less at the time of the purchase. Brother-in-law needs to have some integrity and take personal responsibility. He borrowed the coat and he lost it. As a man, you pay your debts. Brother-in-law is an asshole for losing the coat, but it happens, and the correct response is to replace it. Girlfriend is definitely an asshole for lending the coat out without talking to OP about it. Girlfriend is also an asshole for not being forthcoming with OP about brother-in-law losing the coat. Girlfriend is also an asshole for deciding how much brother-in-law should pay to replace the coat on her own without considering OP. There are some red flags with OP's girlfriend that he should probably take in consideration. Yeah. Not the asshole. She didn't hand her brother $100. She handed him a coat. He didn't need $100 for the wedding. He needed a coat. I do a lot of bargain hunting and thrifting. I buy things at a low cost that have a higher value because I invest time and expertise into knowing what to buy. In this case, your financial investment was $100, but you were also in the right place at the right time to find a coat at a deep discount. You stored it and kept it in good condition. You had enough knowledge to see value in it, a value that your brother-in-law appreciated because he decided it was nice enough to wear to a wedding. When your brother-in-law took the coat, he valued it more than $700. They owe you a similar coat. Now, if you can find one for $100, sure, and it needs to be the same materials and quality as the one he lost. That is the work he needs to put in, not you. You're dumping the girlfriend, right? I know, right? Like, you can't just give my shit away without asking. Well, it is just a coat, but the fact that your fiance gave your stuff away without even telling you, let alone asking, didn't tell you it was lost, made no effort to see your reasoning, and then went to daddy for help makes her a huge asshole. Not the asshole, you have a girlfriend problem. Yeah. Maybe my sister wants something expensive of hers first too. Not the asshole. It's not unreasonable to expect your brother-in-law to replace your coat. Your coat is not a car. There's no depreciation value. You want the coat. He should get you the coat, especially since he's not buying the coat. He lost it while drunk. Your wife's family has an interesting take on integrity and ethics. Yeah. So weird. I can't imagine giving out someone else's stuff without asking first. It's just so strange. I don't understand why it did that. Hold on. Sorry, I had to take care of that. Alright, after this one we're gonna jump into like more wedding based stuff, because I always find the wedding ones really interesting. Those ones are always full of drama. The wedding ones are isn't there a, hold on. Alright. Am I the asshole for crying over a surprise trip to Disney? When I was a kid, my family was really poor. I used to beg my parents to go to Disney World because I would see the ads on TV all the time. We lived about 5 hours away from it, but my family just couldn't afford it, so we never did. I met my fiance and we've been happy. Not really the focus. His family lives in Orlando, so we went down to visit. He said he had a surprise plan for me, so we got in the car with him and his family and ended up taking us to Disney World. Not gonna lie, I started crying. I'm not a huge Disney fan anymore, but I wanted to go to those parks so bad when I was a kid, and I was heartbroken that my family couldn't afford it. When I realized where we were going, it felt like I was a little kid again, and I was so happy. His mom and sister got annoyed with me for crying and were visibly embarrassed and told me that I'm a grown woman and crying over a theme park. His family has had annual passes for years, so they used to go all the time. I tried to explain that I was emotional because of being too poor to go when I was a little kid, but they were standoffish and seemed annoyed with me while we were at the park. Am I the asshole? No, you're not the asshole. Being surprised with a surprise trip to a theme park that you have never been to before? How odd to be embarrassed by someone being overcome with joy. I'm so glad you got to enjoy something that meant so much to you historically, and I hope that they didn't spoil that for you. OP said it was still amazing. My fiance pushed me to have a great time and showed me around since he's been a bunch, so it was awesome. Yeah. That's weird to be mad about. I know. That's so strange. This person's happy. Let me shit on that. Like... Not the asshole, I'm happy you finally got to go, but I'm sad you were with a bunch of buttheads. Disney is always magical when I go. I'm an adult and I've been there several times, and I cried with happiness when I went for my birthday last year because the trip was so amazing. How was your fiance during the trip? Maybe he and you can go together on your own? Maybe the mom and sister were just looking for a reason not to like you. It happens, don't sweat it. You just need to watch your fiance carefully during times like these. Is he a mama's boy who will not protect you from the harmful behavior, or is he your teammate and partner? OP said he told them to back off. Didn't have a big confrontation because we were going to be together in the park for the whole day. He and I had an awesome time together. He encouraged me to go do the character meets even though I was embarrassed because I was a grown-up, bought me a bunch of food, and we had a great time together. His mom and sister ended up mostly doing their own thing while my fiance and I had a blast. Great, he sounds like a keeper, and they sound like party poopers who you should spend as little time with as possible. I have pictures from my character meets from last year on the wall. Don't be embarrassed to do things you like. Yeah. Now the asshole, they seem a little out of touch from having easy location access and annual passes. Since it's in their backyard, they probably can't appreciate how big of a deal it is to a lot of people who maybe go once in their lives. OP said, I have 9 siblings. That's part of why we couldn't afford trips to Disney, and am actually the first of us to go to Disney. We weren't crazy far away, just the cost of the hotels, tickets, and food and merch was nowhere in our budget. Yeah. 9 kids. That's too many kids. It's too many kids. Now the asshole and your future in-laws sound shitty. Are they going to be embarrassed if you cry at your wedding? OP said probably, but they're coming to the show wedding. My fiance and I are eloping with a group of friends in a couple months, and we'll have a ceremony for just family after. True. They have 9 siblings, which means there's 10 of them. Oh. I can't imagine wanting a family that big. That's way too many kids. I mean... 4 kids is too many, and that's a lot of people have 4 kids. It's no wonder they could never go to Disney. Yeah. All the families I knew growing up had 3-4 kids. Mine included. It was mainly just me and my sister, but my dad has 2 as well, so there were 4 of us. Oh, my leg fell asleep. I don't know how it fell asleep because I'm just sitting here like normal. The most normal way I sit, and here we are. My leg is asleep. Over here it's 2 per family. Yeah, that's I think that's the reasonable amount. I think 2 is the reasonable amount of kids. I probably won't still be on, but thanks for coming by, Christian. Hope work goes well. I'll probably do another hour. I'm out of tea. I don't have any left in the fridge. Normally I would have ordered stuff to top up, but I feel bad ordering groceries in this weather. Though I might get to go on Thursday, so I'll probably just buy more then. Alrighty. Alrighty. Bridezilla ruins her own wedding. Alright. Demands bridal party pay her canceled wedding. Starting this year strong, I swear. So my friend Dana, 29, female, was supposed to be getting married this past Sunday, 1/14. The wedding got canceled and things have gotten very crazy. Dana was getting married to Josh, 32, male. She's still in college with me and asked a few friends from college, myself included, to be her bridal party. Now from the start, this wedding has been a disaster. I'm going to just point out a few of the crazy stuff we dealt with. She refused to invite my best friend, who she supposedly is good friends with because she thinks we're lesbian lovers. We're not. She refused to invite you because she thinks you're lesbian lovers. So homophobia. She had us go to the dress fitting and then demanded each of us pay $2,000 for each of our dresses. Apparently she had a specific style she wanted. I can afford it, but I won't buy a $2K dress for one event. Some of the girls in the bridal party don't have that flexibility with money. 3, apparently Josh couldn't invite any single females that were not blood relatives of him, so if he had any female friends, they were axed. 4, one of the girls in the bridal party doesn't drink because of her religion. Dana accused her of being pregnant in front of her parents and almost got her kicked out of her house. She was not pregnant, and she dropped from the bridal party. She was a class act, though, and never bad talked to Dana. She just said that she couldn't make it. We found out about it pretty much on the day of the wedding. 5, she tried to make us cancel our holidays with our families to instead go to her destination bachelorette party. I worked full-time even during the holidays, so I told her that that was not happening. More of the bridesmaids said similar things, and she dropped it. That's just 5 things of the countless drama this wedding was having before the day. Oh my god. I hope, because I imagine one day I will get married to somebody, and I kind of hope that the person I end up getting married to is someone who kind of already knows what they want for their wedding going into the relationship, so that we don't have to do all the planning and everything to this like excessive degree. Like I hope I end up with someone who doesn't really want a big wedding. They don't really like someone who would rather have a small wedding and a big honeymoon, not like a big $10,000, $15,000 wedding. You know, I hope I end up with someone sensible, which I guess being who I am, that's probably what's going to happen. But you never know. So, cause all this, it's just too much. Like a small wedding with like close friends, close family, you know, and that's it, you know? And then we go on a nice big, like a fancy honeymoon overseas or something. Or like take a trip around Europe as our honeymoon. Or like, you know, like something big for the honeymoon instead of for the wedding. But, you know, I'd rather not do the legal thing. Just give me a forever roommate. Now, the meat of the story comes on the wedding day. The day started horrible. Dana was having a meltdown because apparently the flower girl had to cancel because she has chickenpox. She was threatening to sue the mother unless she brought this sick 3-year-old to the wedding. Josh apparently was able to calm her down from the starter outburst, and we began preparations. The whole day, she had constant outbursts. She made people cry, like wedding staff and bridesmaids. The maid of honor deserves a medal for the amount of diplomacy and bullshit control she had to do. I, for the most part, took the easy route and decided to work outside the bridal suite like checking flowers, making sure food was okay, basically any excuse not to be around the bride. Eventually, I had my makeup and hair done. Then the bride asked for a little bit of alone time to decompress from the stress. We didn't even fight it. You could not see a group of women run faster away. Wedding was starting in 30 minutes, so we figured she would be fine alone for a little. I spent those 30 minutes just sitting in the chapel with my phone. It had to be about 5 minutes before the start of the wedding when Maid of Honor came over to tell me that the wedding was canceled. I asked her what happened. Maid of Honor said Dana was having a quickie with Josh's uncle in the room. Josh caught them. What the hell? I just stared at the Maid of Honor with my mouth pretty much about to reach the floor. She told me to run and that she was trying to get as many people out before things exploded. So I quickly got my purse, gathered the two bridesmaids that were carpooling with me, and we left like the devil was after us. I checked with the other bridesmaid, and all had escaped. That night, I called the Maid of Honor to check what happened, and the tea was bad. Apparently, and rightfully, Josh called off the wedding, called her a few names, told off his uncle, and has since left with his mates to, I hope, have the biggest single man party ever. I feel so bad for him. He's an absolute gem of a man. He apparently also told Dana that her parents that she will be paying the cancellation fees. According to Maid of Honor, Dana's father told her in front of everyone that she was paying it on her own. I thought that was the end of it. I made the choice to separate myself from this mess, till I got a call from Dana not even an hour ago, demanding $5,000 to help pay her cancellation fees. According to Dana, it was our duty as the bridal party to pay her cancellation fees. I obviously told her no, and that she might as well lose my number. I'm never speaking to this woman again. This has been pretty much the reaction of all the bridesmaids and the Maid of Honor. By the way, Maid of Honor, Josh's older sister. Wow. Oh my, I like the description of how the bridesmaids made a quick escape. That was a close call for Josh. He was about 30 minutes away from making the biggest mistake of his life. Yeah. Ah. What the actual fuck? This is insane. Yeah. I'm still thinking about the $2,000 bridesmaid dresses. Nobody cares or remembers what the bridesmaids wore. Yeah, right? I just got a similar dress for $300. Still pricey, but nowhere as bad. Yeah. Starter outbursts. I knew it was going to be good when I read this. I actually woke up to her screaming, and all I could wish for was getting chickenpox myself. This was at 8 a.m. Her wedding was at 4 p.m. I have a feeling a lot of these are going to be unhinged because a lot of wedding stories, people kind of lose their shit during weddings. Was she this batshit before, or did the wedding bring that out of her? OP said she used to be super nice before her engagement. Things just went downhill. Cancellation fees. Even at 30 minutes till ceremony, all vendors, supplies, and setup are there and ready to roll. They better have charged her the full bill, right? I would. Let me get something new to drink. Alrighty. I don't know how to fix that. I don't know how to make it not sound like that. So. Alrighty. Invited to a destination wedding with no plans for guests. Yes, my best friend invited me to a destination wedding in Thailand, a long way away from the Midwest, with no plan or budget coming up in a few months. She got married in 2021 during the pandemic in a civil ceremony only. She always wanted to have a destination wedding. She asked me how I went about planning my destination wedding that I had back in 2022. Every time I told her about how we paid for extra excursions and things she didn't have to necessarily do for guests, she was okay with cutting those corners, but it seemed like she was going bare bones on this. Her online website says things like venue, itinerary, where to stay, even the exact date are to be determined. She was telling me that she has plans to have no vendors, only plan is to go to the beach front for a ceremony and then have dinner. She says she and her husband will be doing excursions and anyone wanting to join is optional and can pay for themselves. Her Q&A says, when should I arrive? Anytime before the 4th, we're planning to have a small celebration either on the 4th or 5th. Is this get-together casual or formal? Casual. Think of this as a travel opportunity for friends and family to get together for once-in-a-lifetime celebration. The only thing she has fully filled out is her registry, full of excursions you can buy for the couple and $300 water purifier. Ultimately not going since it would fall the day after my 2-year anniversary. It sounds more like just a honeymoon for them. If they're already married, then what's the point in asking people to fly across the globe and spend a bunch of money? Just have a reception at home for friends and family. Yeah, I don't understand. A nice long one. I'm ready to not be sick anymore. I'm ready for it. I'm living for it. I'm so tired. Alright. So, I'm here to shame my own wedding shenanigans as it relates to my mom and just a mild debacle of a wedding. I'm wordy, so this may be unnecessarily long. Also, I keep remembering details. For background context, my parents got married at courthouse style and also never had a wedding. I feel this matters for my mom's behavior. I also have had issues with my mom growing up. Although I love her, she used to treat me like a fashion doll, dressing me up in the latest trends and getting mad when I developed my own style and refused to wear what she picked out. Also, she always told me that she wanted us to be close, but never really tried to understand me. Just forced her idea of what our relationship should be onto me. So the wedding and leading up. My husband and I got married in 2020. Inspired by my friend who got married during the pandemic in a park, it was just her, her husband, and their respective parental figures, and one sibling, as a parent had passed. My husband and I had just bought a house and decided to have a no-frill ceremony in a lot that was right next to it. It was owned by the local municipality, and the previous owners used it recreationally all the time. Plan was to do a ceremony and have a grand wedding later, so I could invite all of my family post-COVID. I have a big family on both parents' sides, and I am close to them, so I did not want to leave out those I really care about. After informing the groom's parents who are local, I called to inform my parents of our plans. I told them it would just be parents and the date, etc. My mom is agreeing, but also seems to only halfway be listening, as she gets some of the information wrong. I inform her that I will not require them to wear a mask, but is recommended and social distancing is mandatory. I also inform them that my future in-laws probably will mask anyway, as they're older, and my now father-in-law is really paranoid about getting sick. He's super healthy for mid-70s, and I applaud the man for it. Well, my mom proclaims she is not wearing a mask, and it will ruin the pictures, and my husband-to-be family can do whatever they want. Yeah, I know, that's what I said. Later, I found out the reason she kept getting info wrong was to verify information to share with her mom, my grandmother, and her sister. She invites them to the wedding and is getting all excited and planning things, so I didn't even get to tell my own grandmother my plans. I did not have the heart to tell her that she's not invited and that my mom was ruining everything. In hindsight, it was COVID, and I think my grandma would have accepted that, but I felt trapped. At some point, while I am still in shock as I told my parents 4 weeks before our proposed date and found out a week after telling them that she had informed my grandma and aunt. She then peer pressures me into buying a wedding dress. So now wedding dress shopping is added to the list. Luckily, my parents agreed to pay for that at least, and it's nice, but not what I truly wanted. I had started planning an actual wedding at the last minute and fight off my mom at the same time. Plus, it's still COVID. My grandparents are in their late 70s and 80s, and I had not really gone anywhere since the early shutdown. I did not want to put those I love at risk. I pick colors, my husband to be rinsed tux and gets a tie. We tell my future in-laws, we hire a videographer, and my friend who is a cook agrees to help cater. In total, it may have cost us under $2,000.
Nice.
Flash forward, the wedding now includes bride's side, mom, dad, older brother and younger sister, maternal grandmother, maternal grandfather, maternal aunt. Groom's side, mom, dad, sister. Mutual friend that did the catering, and his fiance, videographer, officiant, pastor. 5 days prior to the wedding, couldn't find a dress online, walk into David's Bridal and pick a dress that I loved at the time, but not my dream dress, which would have been white with purple or tie, blah, blah, blah. 2 to 3 days before the wedding, my husband decides to stay at his parents' to keep the tradition of not being with/sleeping with the bride prior to the wedding. And because of the last-minute guests, we get blow-up mattresses and are gifted a mattress from another friend for my family to stay in our 1-month lived-in home. Yay! The day before the wedding, I managed to schedule a hair appointment for a wig install, and the day before my wedding, it was fabulous. The only good thing about the hell I was in besides marrying my husband. My aunt and I put together my arch that I shot for and bought flowers to attach that are in line with my theme. My aunt does last-minute alterations for my dress since it was bought 5 days prior to the date of the wedding. I decide playlist for the ceremony, lineup of people and everything, with one request for my husband to be for his walk and his parents' walk. A real trooper this man was, and is, the more I look back on it. I put my older brother in charge of emceeing for the day, and in the middle of all this, my mom finally is able to blow my top, despite the peace I tried to keep. She decides to get mad about God knows what, I blocked it out, sorry guys, and causes me to nearly cry after I finish doing my own makeup. My grandma and aunt have to guide her away, and she comes back and apologizes. I low-key feel like this was on some weird mental checklist of things to do at weddings she had going on. Also, did I mention that this is in the middle of summer 2020 in Florida, where we broke records in the hottest days in the state that year? So we're all sweating, but getting through the ceremony, etc. just fine. And then after everything goes well and my husband and I are walking down the aisle and taking pictures with the videographer in the blazing heat, my mom exclaims like a tragedy has happened. The bouquet, you didn't throw the bouquet. I ignored her because I couldn't. Who am I throwing the bouquet to? Everyone except my aunt, younger sister, and my friend are married. I didn't even want that to be a wedding. But thank God it was finally over. We have to go plates of food. I cut my Publix cake. I threw my wig off and relaxed afterwards by playing video games with my siblings and my husband. To this day, I have mixed feelings as I had a wedding of my dreams in mind, but I don't see the use and never want to go through the stress of something like that again. But the bittersweet is my mom developed early Alzheimer's, but didn't show until it was severe 2 years after the wedding. So at least she got to see me get married and have the memories. God, that should stress me out just reading about it. Fuck. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't sound like a wedding for them. The wedding at a chain restaurant server POV. This happened a few years ago, but it definitely belongs here. I worked at a chain restaurant named after cheese as a server. This place is by no means fancy. We didn't even take reservations. So imagine our shock when a party of 35 walks in demanding to be seated together. We had to pull tables from other rooms. It took all the booths surrounding the dining room, etc. After we finally got all their orders in, a man stands up with a Bible and heads to the front of the room. That's right, folks, this was a wedding. We all just stood there in shock as the bride and groom said their vows. We all clapped and they kissed and sat back down. I'll admit I was just happy it was over. The food rolled out, and 15-20 minutes later, they ate, paid, and left. In case you're wondering, they all had separate tabs. No one tipped. Oh my god. The way I would have told them to fuck off. Coming in with a party of 35. I know a Cheddar Scratch Kitchen when I see one. Thank you. That's what I thought as well. It's a good place to have. It's a good place to cater from if you can get them to cater for your wedding because they have so many options. Oh, that's literally all it is. Okay. Too many words. Hi everyone, sorry for the anonymous post, but my bridesmaid is on here. Today we met up for our monthly meeting to go over agenda and order of the day, etc. I noticed when my bridesmaid turned her head that she got quite a number of gray hairs. I mentioned this to her and suggested dyeing it before my big day. She refused and said hairdresser appointments are too expensive and she's allergic to box dye. It's really unsightly and I'm worried it's going to take away from the beauty of the dress I chose for her. Any tips on what I can do? I can't pay for her hair appointment as I've exhausted my bridesmaid budget now. Wedding is 10 weeks away and I think her hair is only going to get worse. She's only 30. This is a pretty specific conversation, so if the bridesmaid is on here, she's gonna recognize this. Yeah. You had me at our monthly meeting. Yeah, what is this, a fucking book club? Yeah. Oh yes, the wedding was okay, but one of the bridesmaids had a few gray hairs and it ruined the entire aesthetic and my entire experience. People are so weird. Wear a wig, cover tattoos, and sign a contract. My friend Laura, 34 female, is getting married in April 2024. She asked me, 35 female, to be a bridesmaid. Why? Why did you type it out like this? Why is it typed out like this? Oh my god. Okay. This is gonna be annoying. I've known her since college and her fiance James is a great man, so I happily agreed. We began planning everything, having multiple meetings to make sure we are all up to date on all plans. She's a bit of a neat person and very organized. She made all 5 bridesmaids. I can't do it like this. Hold on. I can't do this. This is too annoying. Hold on. I can't read it like this. There we go. Okay. I've known her since college and her fiance James is a great man, so I happily agreed. We began planning everything and having multiple meetings to make sure we are all up to date on plans. She's a bit of a neat person and very organized. She made all 5 bridesmaids and her maid of honor a binder of our duties, and we put in information about the wedding. For future reference, she wants us to use it as a guide for our weddings if we aren't married. We keep track of appointments, vendors, etc. Pretty standard stuff, but that's not all that there is. There is a section of events where we're required to give a gift and list acceptable gifts for that event, such as a bachelorette party requires a gift of at least $100 and includes bags, shoes, clothes, etc. Wedding shower is required gift minimum of $50 and some type of expensive alcohol. One of the biggest issues are required look. This we got on Christmas. Here is where I started to backpedal and want to walk away. I have very thick but fine hair. I keep the sides shaved down and the top and back long, like halfway down my back, which helps my migraines. I also have a Eeyore tattoo and a bear paw print tattoo that show. I also just had bariatric surgery, so I'm working on losing weight. I also have glasses. This is relevant. Below are her lists of musts. That was much easier to read, even. Okay. 1. No visible tattoos. Must remove or cover with makeup. No jacket or long sleeves to cover them. Full head of hair. No shaved sides or back. Must have a wig professionally put on if haircut is not acceptable. Hair must be blonde or black. I will tell you what color is best for you. Hair and makeup is to be done by MUA and hairstylist. MUA $100. Hairstylist depends on hair length and if it needs cut. Hair and makeup is to be done by hair cannot be too short. It must be able to be braided. Also, if your hair is too long, like to your waist, it will need to be cut. Nails, including toes, will need to be done professionally by my nail salon ladies in my approved color and length. You must fit into a size 8 dress. I don't want to see tits or rolls. Tints? I assume that means tints. Like the dress is too big or rolls too tight. Dresses have been ordered at size 8 only. No jewelry, including wedding bands or engagement. You can't wear your own wedding band or engagement ring. No brown eyes. That's James's and my eye color. So you will need to get contacts. You can't have the most common eye color. No harsh tans, no visible scars, no eyeglasses, get contacts, or go without for the day. Another issue is in our last meeting, she passed out a bill for each of us to pay. It included the dress, shoes we would wear, $850, nail fee, $150. She's pulling the money to pay for them to do our nails. A binder fee of $75, the one she made for us to carry around. Catering fee, $200 per plate. And an entourage fee, $100. We go everywhere with her. Hotel fee for the weekend, $326. And the final fee, $400 to be a bridesmaid or $500 to be a maid of honor. That's so much. No. The answer is no. Yeah, sorry, but anyone that ever wants me to go to a wedding at any time, I'm busy that day, right? It's just horrifying. The final kicks in the pants was the contract. 14 pages front and back of everything that we are required to do, like not getting pregnant, attend meetings and events, constantly communicate, etc. We must take constant pictures so someone can make photo albums of everything. Each person must plan an event that is not at their house or anyone's house. It could be for one or both of them. Food and drinks must be served. We will also follow the gift requirements for each said event. Failure to follow the contract could lead to a fine or dismissal from going to the wedding. They aren't having a destination wedding. It's here in our city at a park with dinner at a hotel. She wants us at the hotel so we can be close if she needs us. I tried to explain that I can't afford this, and she told me I had to figure it out. I figured she lost a bridesmaid. Update, I'm not doing the wedding. She's mad, but I don't care. I love that the final line in the sand was the contract and not the list of things that you have to cover your tattoos. You need to change your hair color. You need to have your makeup done. Your hair can't be too short, but it can't be too long. Your nails need to be done by my specific person. You have to fit in a size 8. No jewelry, no brown eyes, no tans, no scars, no brown eyes. Like, what the fuck? Like, as I said, that is the most common eye color. That is the most common eye color. Like, what in the fuck? I don't understand. Because her and her husband's eye color is brown. So you can't have brown eyes. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. I don't understand. So only the bride and groom are allowed to have brown eyes? Why? That doesn't make any sense. You don't think it's gonna distract that everyone's gonna have blue fucking eyes? Easy call here. Sorry, bride to be. I can't be in your wedding because I won't do all the things you say are required. No brown eyes. I'm having a tough time taking this seriously. Sorry, I can't do this because you are insane. Yeah. No brown eyes. This is a level of delusion that I didn't think was possible. She sounds psychotic, and I would absolutely back out of this wedding immediately. It's a gift that she sent this. Save yourself the chaos and heartbreak. Huh? It's insane. I don't get who would opt in unless his bride is a legit fucking princess, where being her friend has your whole family line set for fucking life. Right? Honestly. Trying to wrap my head around this, sorry. Like, that's just insane. I can't even. No brown eyes. 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 What the fuck? Ah. Yeah, no scars either. Yeah, I wonder. I wonder if it's just a wedding party thing, which is still not okay, but at least it's like, I'm not expecting every single fucking person who comes to the wedding to go through all this shit. I would hope not. I'm gonna hope not. I'm gonna hope it was a bridesmaid only thing. Which is still highly unacceptable, of course, but it's more like, I don't know, more fine? Yeah. Hold on, there's a vehicle driving by. Give me a minute. Construction noises. can't believe they have them out there. I mean, I can believe they have them out there doing construction when it's 10 degrees, but still, it's a bit wild if you ask me. It's too cold to be outside. I hope they have like some sort of heating unit or something in those buildings over there that they're working on. Like some space heaters or something, because it is too cold out for that shit, huh? All right. Going no contact with my friend after being her bridesmaid. Ooh. Big old block of text. Here we go. I'm sorry for the rant in advance. Still can't believe how bad it got and will give you as much details as I can. I, 30 female, was a bridesmaid for my close friend, S, 30 female. It was the worst experience. The bridesmaids had to plan a surprise bachelorette for 26 people, including cousins under 21 and mothers in their 60s/50s. The bride did not want to be involved at all in planning. No tips or hints, and would not tell us what dates she was free. The other bridesmaids didn't care as much, so I ended up taking all the work. I organized the whole trip, and the bride complained to me the entire time how she didn't like it, and her mother-in-law told her she wasn't going to like it, etc., etc. Then she made a speech thanking a different bridesmaid for doing all the work by herself. I did it all, not her. This was clear to all as I was messaging, organizing, and paying. Her family and her fought all the time, and one relative was crying multiple times due to the bride. I found out there was an emergency party I wasn't invited to, and everyone else was. It was a shit show. I lost a lot of money because of the bride's family, told people not to pay for the bachelorette, and it's okay. I debated pulling out as bridesmaid, but it was weeks before the wedding and very last minute. I attended her 3-day wedding event, and I regret it so much. My hair was too long and made the rehearsal late. Been this length the whole time. I didn't get a spray tan, so I looked pale. No one asked me to. She tells me when we are leaving to go to the ceremony that they have no transport for me, so I'm driving some bridesmaids. So I have to clean my car quickly, drive us there in my floor-length dress and heels. I was not told literally any of the wedding day plans, all new info to me. After the ceremony, I was supposed to go for photos at a second location. I had no idea where. No one had their phones. I am lost. Eventually, I find someone who can tell me, but I miss most of the photos. Bride is mad at me, I think, at this point. At dinner, they ask if I'll make a speech. I say no, as I'm not prepared. I also missed the first dance because I went to the bathroom. I left the next morning and skipped day 3. I haven't spoken to her since. Totally changed my outlook on the friendship. Yeah, a 26-person bachelorette party. Genuinely, I don't think I know 26 women. Honestly. Yeah, maybe like extended family. Wedding stuff just makes me want to rip my hair out. It's just so stressful. And people get so fucking crazy during wedding stuff. Bride groups really are the gift that keep giving. Alright. Alright, Jimmy. See you tomorrow. Probably not going to be on much longer anyways. All right. Backstory. My fiance has never had a relationship with the side of his family has the last name of. His father dipped on him when he was 2, and his grandpa basically raised him, and he wants to take his last name. I met my fiance when I was 15. We dated in high school and reconnected as adults, but I definitely never got over him. And when we reconnected, I was so happy I might be getting a second chance at forever with him. We're 4 months out from our wedding, and while he's made comments about legally changing his last name, he's never made any real effort to get the ball rolling. I was kind of hoping he had forgot or decided it wasn't as important. My issue is I've always wanted his current last name, and I just don't feel like his grandpa's name flows with mine. Am I wrong for being upset? I've wanted his last name since I was 15. I have stupid notebooks with it scribbled all over them. Like, I never signed up to have his grandpa's last name. That wasn't the plan. You do not sign up for someone's last name. You sign up to marry them, no matter what the name is. It's pretty childish of you to be upset with him and ask him to keep a name he isn't comfortable with just so it flows with your name better. If you don't like the new last name, don't change it. I think you need to support him and whatever makes him feel comfortable. He probably has stuff connected to his last name and he wants to forget and get a fresh start. And he's probably go deeper than just notepad scribbles, and it's about loving and supporting each other, not just a name. Yikes, it's still early to delete this. You're going to need to change your mindset if you want your marriage to be long-lasting. How upset are you to have the last name of a man that stepped up to love your husband versus the one that abandoned him? Sometimes you need to say it out loud to see how bratty it sounds. Just keep your own then. I'm curious to know what he had to say when you let him know you didn't sign up for this. Yes, you're wrong. No explanation needed. Thank you for adding the comments, yeah. There were so many comments, I didn't see a single one that agreed with her. That's good, at least. Bridezilla threatens grandma because she mistakenly posted her dress on FaceApp. Interesting. Hi all. This is my first post after a short life of dealing with trauma from my abusive bio mother. Warning, it will be quite a read. I need a little support in this moment. Yesterday, I went wedding dress shopping for the first time. My maternal grandmother, Nana, has been my rock for years, and so I invited her to attend. My bio mom, her only child, was not in attendance as we have been no contact for almost 10 years. My Nana did not get this experience with my bio mom and never will, so I thought it would be a nice thing to do with her. At the appointment, I found 3 dresses that I am in love with, and my mother-in-law and I even cried while I was wearing it. One, my Nana, who the other ladies... God, I'm sorry. My ability to read is just plummeting. My Nana and the other ladies who came had photos of each dress on her phone, and after the appointment was over, I swore each woman to secrecy with the photos they took, especially of the top 3. I wake up to Facebook this morning, and my Nana's profile picture is changed to me in the dress my mother-in-law and I cried at. I thought it was the one. I am absolutely crushed by this. I immediately commented to take it down, texted and called her. She did not answer a single one of 6 calls I made to her by me throughout the day. In her trying to take it down, she updates her story photo to her old profile picture instead of removing the photo, which is currently still up, and my entire family has seen or commented on. The 3 dresses I landed on. I was trying to send you the pictures. I don't know what I did that it showed up there. I'm not sure how to take it down. I don't know. I don't even want to read these because they're so vile. I don't even want to read these messages. Yeah. Her texts are abusive and insane. I feel so bad for Nana. I can't even imagine being this angry and vitriolic over a fucking dress, right? I don't understand why it's such a big deal. Like, I don't... Like, maybe if Nana had done it maliciously, then I could understand, but clearly she didn't do it maliciously, so... But even if she had done it maliciously, I still can't understand that level of reaction, you know? It's just a lot. It's a lot. Nana is her rock. It's not showing. It's so obviously a mistake. If I saw behavior like this from a relative, I wouldn't be going to that wedding. Jeez. Yeah. It's a good point. Weirdest thing I've experienced officiating a wedding. I'm a wedding officiant and have done over 200 weddings and have a lot of 5-star reviews. On the day of the wedding, I went in to talk to the bride and groom, and the bride yelled at me and said, "You're not part of the wedding party, get out of here." I was shocked and just left. I've never experienced this before. Usually the bride and groom welcome me and want to know what I have to say, verify that there are no changes, and sometimes sign the license before, whatever. I have now experienced my first bridezilla. I bit my tongue and did the wedding with a smile. Alternately, "You're not a part of the wedding party, get out of here." So I left, went home, and had a relaxing day. I wonder how long it took them to get a replacement officiant. The wedding literally couldn't happen without you. You're a pretty important part of the wedding party. Yeah. Yeah, you put the wedding in wedding party. Otherwise, it's just a party. Or really just a bunch of dressy people at a church with a cake. Yeah. You're a better human than I am. I would have packed my shit up and gone home. I was disappointed that wasn't the case, that he didn't just leave. Yeah. How dare you be here? Wedding officiant at my wedding. Wedding attire, men's, Western inspired with rugged denim, button-down shirt, boots if you have them, cowboy hat if you're daring, please no shorts or flip-flops. Ladies, Western inspired with autumn's solid tones, calico print florals, boots if you have them, again, dare to wear the hat, no tanks, shorts, or flip-flops. Okay, so this happened a few years back. Bride kicked me and my daughter out of her wedding party. I was asked to be a bridesmaid in a friend's wedding. She also made a cute gift for my 5-year-old daughter, asking her to be the flower girl. We weren't particularly close friends, but had known each other for years. We both said yes. She decided she wanted to raise funds for her wedding. She wanted to buy a few big prizes and sell raffle tickets. I suggested a stag and doe. I think they're fun, but ultimately I said I would help with whatever she wanted. She held a meeting to decide who would do what and assigned us tasks. The wedding party. We were asked to sell tickets for her stag and doe and donate a bottle of booze for a win a cooler of booze prize, donate a prize for her stag and doe, and purchase a dress. I got a really nice bottle of vodka. It was nearly $100. A double drill set that was around $250. Got food she would serve her guests and deeply discounted by a family member. Work discounted, ordered a bridal belt that she had wanted. It was only $10, but still. I felt I had met my bridesmaid obligations. She was going to be serving cold cut sandwiches as a late night snack at her stag and doe, and my aunt works at a place that makes these kind of lunch meats. I said I would pick that up for her. They made platters that retail for $100 each, and I got them for $20. Ooh, nice. $100 for a bottle of what tastes like hand sanitizer, right? We were told we could pick whatever dress we wanted as long as it was a particular color of blue. I chose one that was $100 on clearance rack. She said absolutely not. It was strapless, and she was wearing a strapless dress, so I could not. She chose a different dress for me that was double the price. I said I would have to get it the following week. I was on maternity leave, so with half of my income gone, I was on a strict budget. She said she would pay the difference, but she wasn't happy about it. I really didn't care. I had just given birth. The other dress concealed my baby bump remnants much better and was within my budget. The dress she chose for me wasn't flattering at all. I had offered to come help prepare for the stag and doe several times. She turned down my offer every time. I had 3 girls at home, including a brand new infant, so I assumed that's why she didn't want my help. Finally, the day of the stag and doe came. I went to pick up the cold cut platters from my aunt, paid her $60 out of the ticket money I had sold. Bride was stressing. I asked how I could help. She was stressing about getting buns. I said, no problem, I'll pick them up. She also had a bulk coffee order, and I volunteered my husband to pick them up. I fully expected to be reimbursed for the buns and coffee. Just before the stag and doe started, after we were done setting up, I gave her my remaining tickets I hadn't sold, with an invoice for the meat I bought with her ticket sale money. And I also told her the cost of the buns and coffee, but told her not to worry about it now. She can get me back at a later time. She was pissed. She told me off saying, do you know how much my brother has done? She really felt I wasn't pulling my weight. The rest of her bridal party was family. I had a horrible time at the stag and doe. I really felt used and actually sick to my stomach. I faked a smile and helped run games and raise money. The bride and groom didn't speak to me all night. As the night was ending, I asked my husband if he would stay to help clean up the place. The next day she messaged me and went back and forth a bit, but she ended up kicking both me and my daughter out of her wedding, and actually we were no longer even invited. The replacement bridesmaid wore the very same dress I had picked out that was in my budget. This was a friendship ender, lol. My husband actually went over the night before their wedding to set up some lights. I'm still pissed that he would do anything to help that wedding. If she really wanted me to pay for more, she should have waited until I was back to work, because it's not even that I wasn't willing to pay for more, I just simply didn't have this much disposable income at the time. I'd gotten her a really nice spa package as a bridal shower gift, so I really enjoyed the pampering myself. Never, not once, have I ever missed her friendship. Yeah, I'd never heard of a stag and doe before. Apparently it's fundraising for your own wedding. Girlie might as well just pay for the whole wedding at this point. Also getting upset about 2 people wearing strapless dresses. Every woman in my family is rolling their eyes, alive or in their graves. Just to add some context, I see a lot of people talking about how tacky the concept of a stag and doe is. It's really not perceived like that in rural Ontario. People look forward to them, particularly in small towns where there isn't a lot of nightlife. It's common practice in my hometown to plan for them for New Year's Eve, and they're usually the biggest event in town. That said, the bride is next level. You're better off without her. Yeah, for some reason, weddings really just bring the worst out of people. And not even just like from the stress, like just people who are normally like chill turn into fucking monsters. Everybody is getting pregnant for my wedding. Hi all, my wedding is going to happen June 2024. There will be around 120 people. I have 4 best friends that are also going to come to the wedding. I was really looking forward to celebrate the wedding with all of them. They really know how to make a good mood at parties. They dance, they drink. They are people you want at any party. The thing is, 3 out of 4 are going to have babies of 2 to 4 months then. We will provide a babysitter for them so they can have their peace, but I'm afraid they will not be in the mood for anything. They will probably be tired, maybe not really feel well postpartum. Maybe also they will not drink if they breastfeed. I'm really worried that it will affect the whole mood at the wedding. Also, I'm afraid that they will leave earlier. I don't know what to do, but I feel really anxious already. Anyone has any advice of the situation like this? Thank you. Shaming this bride for expecting people to put their lives on hold for their day. Yeah. This happened to me at my wedding last month. Last of the 4 of us to get married. I've attended multiple engagement parties, traveled out of state for all 3 friends, bachelorette trips, went to 4 wedding showers for 3 friends, 3 wedding dress appointments, thousands of dollars, plenty of PTO, and of course lots of time, not to mention how gender reveal parties, baby showers, birthday parties, etc. I asked for a 1-day local bachelorette party, keep it around 250 plus people paying for their own dinner. I had only my sister and sister-in-law in the wedding, but asked some friends to come to my hotel room for a few hours early to spend the morning and getting ready with me. No bridal showers, no wedding dress appointments, no overnight commitments or PTO required from anyone. All 3 of these friends left my reception before like 8:30 p.m. One was sick, so that's a different story. I can appreciate that children change your priorities. One of the friends didn't even find me to say goodbye, though, and didn't even text me to tell me she tried to find me but had to leave early. Brushed it off when I asked her what happened several weeks after the wedding. It hurts. I wanted to keep things casual and not ask a lot of people, but it really hurts that they couldn't show up for the whole event. That's not being a bridezilla. It's hoping that your friends will come through for you like you've done for them. It's okay to be worried or upset about this. I would recommend gently talking to them about it, though, and letting them know how you feel. Also, you can be worried about this or hurt by it if it happens without being mad at them. All that being said, having those friends leave early did nothing to change the vibe of the reception or the amount of fun had by other guests. I was a bridesmaid in June. I had a 5-week-old, and literally the other bridesmaid had a 3-week-old. The bride made sure we had a secluded and air-conditioned spot to breastfeed and told us to leave early. I know your friend meant you both leaving early with the best intentions, but it gave me a giggle to think of her going, you have tiny humans, ergo you will be leaving early because that's what's best for you, and making it more of a demand and not needing to worry about her feelings if it's best for you to leave early. You've got kids, get the fuck out, honestly. I think it's so wild when people get engaged and they're like, no one get pregnant because we're going to get married eventually. And then they're engaged for like 5 years and they're upset because someone's pregnant during their wedding. And it's like, you didn't have a date picked out. Like, we couldn't exactly plan around it because you didn't tell us when it was going to be. We'll go for another few minutes. Go until we hit 4 o'clock. So 8 minutes. Future bride not happy with her proposal. Has anyone dealt with the sadness of a failed proposal? If you're engaged for 6 years with no plans, are you even really engaged? Well, some people will just get engaged to be engaged, and then they'll just stay that way for a while until they're able to actually afford the wedding. But I don't think you should get engaged until you know you can afford the wedding. personally, but it's still just dating. Yeah. Pretty much. Nope. Just a ring on a finger. Right. Has anyone dealt with the sadness of a failed proposal? My fiance shows many signs of ADHD and has had years of difficulty planning things thoroughly. I think that could be the reason why he struggles with plans and when multiple things pile up. He gives up and presents many half-thoughts plans or doesn't follow through with things. He failed miserably with our first proposal and then he tried redoing it and he hired a horrible photographer the second time, so we don't have any nice photos of the redo. I can't get into wedding planning spirit because I am absolutely bummed that I did not get a dream proposal. I'm struggling to get over it because a nice proposal was the only thing that he was in charge of. I'm naturally a planner and think of the smallest details, so I've taken over the wedding planning. But I shut down whenever I look at my ring and think that I don't have a nice story to tell when I get asked about how he proposed. She doesn't say what the first or second proposal entailed, just that he failed miserably. What does that even mean? All that is required is a question and then you answer. No photography is needed either. It would have probably been a nice story to tell, no one cares that much anyway, if you could laugh about he supposedly failed and not actually make him do it again. That's true. A failed proposal can sometimes be a far more interesting story than a dream proposal. Like, the proposals where, like, someone, like, they propose on a dock or something and then they drop the ring and it goes into the water, you know, like I feel like stories like that are far more memorable and far more interesting to tell, like to tell your kids and tell your grandkids and your friends, and you know, it's a far more interesting and fun story than just a proposal going off without a hitch, I think. But yeah, if you're, it's not like you said, Stray, it's not about the story, it's about the commitment with the person you love. Though it is always nice to have a fun story to tell. My husband was so excited to propose that he asked me right after I walked in the door from work. Still had my coat on and work bag in hand. Perhaps the least romantic proposal of all time. I actually said, "Can I take my coat off before I answer?" We still laugh about it almost 20 years later. A dream proposal is just being proposed to by the person you want to spend your life with. Yeah, pretty much. That's how I've always seen it. Mine is something we still joke about too, and we'll have been married 30 years next spring. Husband says, "Will you marry me?" I say, "I love you," without missing a beat. He replies, "It was a yes or no question. That was neither." That is funny. I've been married for 20 years. No one ever asks about my proposal story. Honestly, no one cares. I think she's allowed to feel disappointed, but she also just needs to get over it. You know? Yeah, I agree. My wife and I were like an hour into a hike, sitting on a log next to a lake. Not another human soul around. We didn't even think to take photos until later, and then wanted to go back and at least get a photo of the log by the lake to remember it by. It's That's like the only picture we have of the actual proposal. Of course, we took a couple selfie pictures that evening in our hotel room, haranguing us goofing when getting a drink later. But yeah, some people put so much stock into this crap. Yeah. I don't get it, personally. Like, I can understand the disappointment. But carrying it around with you for so long, making someone redo it, like, I don't know, that just seems goofy to me. Alright, I'm gonna call it there. Got 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours of Reddit. I'm tired. So that'll do it for today. I'll see y'all tomorrow with more of Alan Wake tomorrow. Alrighty, y'all. Sleep well. Eat some food. Maybe. Bye.